Okay, so this is going to be an open book quiz on Act 1, Scene 1 of A Raisin in the Sun. I did say it's open book, so you should have your books out with you. I'm going to give you page numbers to reference, so you're going to want to have your book with you. The page numbers that I do reference are going to be from this version of the book. This is the one that's sold in our bookstore. So if you have a different version, that's fine, but the page numbers might be different, so sorry. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so Act 1, Scene 1, starting with the first question. You can find these on pages 23 through 24. The question is, what mood is established in the opening stage directions? And what details from the opening stage directions actually help establish the mood? Okay, so what is the opening mood of the play? I think there is a sense of weariness and tiredness, and there's also kind of sadness and gloom. So I think that would be the mood, kind of this weary gloominess. And so what details suggest that? Well, first let's talk about the diction. Okay, so the actual word choice. On page 23, we have the word tired, we have weariness, we have depressing, we have weariness again. On page 24, we have some other words like weary as well. So there's a lot of diction in here that suggests, well, weariness, okay? Additionally, the actual set itself suggests weariness. So the actual furnishings and the actual pieces on set. It says on page 23, its furnishings have had to accommodate the living of too many people for too many years. And then it talks about how the carpet is worn in places. So the actual physical things on stage suggest that weariness as well. And then there's all these images of kind of a struggle or a war or a battle. It says the carpet has fought back by showing its weariness. It says weariness has in fact won in this room. So there's images of battle and fighting. And then on the 24, it says the sole natural light of the family, man joy, is only that which fights its way through this little window. So there are all these images of kind of a fight or a struggle, and so it's not an easy mood. It's not happy. It's weary. They're tired of fighting. They're tired of trying, so hard. Okay. Next set of questions on pages 24 through 27. How could Ruth and Walter's relationship be described? And what details from this passage establish their characterization or their relationship? Okay, so right away again, what do we know about Ruth and Walter and what reveals that about them? So first of all, I think the easiest way to describe them is that they're antagonistic, right? They provoke one another. They bicker often. We see that with the eggs where she says, how do you want your eggs? And he says, not scrambled. And what does she do? Starts to scramble those eggs. And then the way that Walter talks to her, there's multiple instances. First, when he's asking, what's the matter with you? He doesn't ask, oh, are you okay? How can I help? Instead, it's what's the matter with you? Okay, so it's not really even in a loving way when he is asking about her health and her kind of feelings. There's also the part where Walter says, oh, you look good, baby. And then he's like, nah, that was just for a second. You're back to normal now. So the way he talks to her is not very kind either. And I think it's interesting in the way that they react to each other as well, especially with Ruth. She doesn't always react to the mean things that he's saying, right? Or that he's complaining. She doesn't even really react to that either. There was a part in the stage directions that says, it was a complaint too automatic to deserve emphasis. So Ruth was just kind of tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over again. So even in the way that she doesn't react, it's somewhat antagonistic as well. Okay. I think they're also very unsupportive of one another. When Walter's talking about what he wants to do and he hangs out with his friends, he says, oh, the things I want to talk about with my friends just couldn't be important in your mind. So they clearly don't necessarily understand what each other wants. And so they don't really support each other in that. Okay. Next set of questions, pages 28 through 35. What does Walter desire in life, and what does Walter desire from his wife? So in life and from his wife. All right, so what does he want in life? Well, I think he wants to own his own business. He wants to get rich. He wants to be his own boss. And we see that especially when Ruth says, okay, so you'd rather be Mr. Arnold than be his chauffeur. He is not satisfied with his kind of subservient career. And so he wants to make it big and be his own boss. From his wife, though, he specifically wants support. He laments that women don't understand about building their men up and making them feel like they somebody, right? And so the fact that he is frustrated with that suggests that he doesn't feel that Ruth actually does that for him. He feels like she doesn't build him up and make him feel like somebody. Next set of questions, pages 35 through 38. How can Beneatha be described? And what is the irony in Walter's expectations for Beneatha? Okay, so again, what do we know about Beneatha at this point and what shows that? We know that she has big dreams and aspirations. Everybody seems to know what she wants to do, right? Walter and Beneatha at the same time say to be a doctor, right? So she wants to be a doctor, which is a really high aspiration. That's awesome. She's also unapologetic about it. When Walter tries to make her feel bad about kind of the burden that her dreams have placed on the family, she says, "What do you want from me, brother? That I quit school and just drop dead? What?" So she is unapologetic about the fact that she has dreams and she wants to fulfill them and she's working hard towards them. The irony in Walter's expectations for Beneatha is that he expects support for his dreams from Ruth, a woman, but he won't support a woman's dream, Beneatha's, right? Remember that irony is when expectation and reality are different. So the expectation is, since he expects support from Ruth, then he would give support to Beneatha. But the reality is, even though he expects support from Ruth, he does not give that support to Beneatha. Next question, how can Mama be described? Pages 38 through 46. All right, so what do we know about Mama at this point? Well, we know that in the description, it says she is full of strength, she is full of beauty, she is full of grace. She is a strong woman. Okay. We also know that she fiercely loves her family. We see that in a number of different ways. The way that she's constantly asking how Ruth is doing and concerned for her, her well-being. We also know that she loves little Travis, maybe a little too much, maybe spoils him. She doesn't mind fixing his messes, right? She comes and cleans up his bed that he didn't make properly. And she's constantly asking Ruth about what Ruth is feeding him. Like, are you giving him hot food? He needs hot food, Ruth. So she's not meddling, but she's meddling, right? We also know that she cares for Beneatha's dreams. We know that because she intends to set aside some of the insurance money that she's receiving for Beneatha's schooling, right? So she wants Beneatha to follow her dreams and succeed. We also see that she cares about her family when she is thinking back upon her husband, and the thing that she remembers most fondly is the way that he loved her kids, and the way that he just adored his children. She was even talking about how when they lost the baby, how distraught her husband was because he wanted to give life to that little baby. And so clearly, based on how she feels about her husband and how she respects her husband for the way that he loved his family, we know that she loves her family too. We also know she's full of integrity. She's uncomfortable with the idea of Walter going into the liquor store business because she doesn't like the idea of being a part of that. We also know that she loves her little plant. You can see that in the image there. And she wants more sunlight for it. She even says, it's not getting enough sunlight. The way that she loves her plant is the same way that she loves her family. And the way that, so I think her plant kind of represents her family. The fact that her plant is not getting enough sunlight could represent how her family is not getting enough hope, getting enough nurturing for their dreams. They're all dissatisfied, and so they're missing something. And so the way that their plant is not getting enough sunlight, her family is not getting that happiness that they so desire. Okay, next questions, pages 46 through 53. That's the end of the scene. What are some of the generational differences between Mama and her children, particularly Beneatha? Okay, so first of all, when it comes to generational differences, Mama, does not understand her children's desire for more. So with Beneatha and how Beneatha wants to take guitar lessons and she did horseback riding lessons or whatever, she's doing all these different things to better herself, Beneatha is. And Mama just doesn't understand it. She's like, why? Like, we're doing just fine. Why do you have to go out and do all of these extra things? For Mama, it's all about just getting by and providing for her family, whereas Beneatha has these dreams outside of that. Beneatha wants more than just getting by. She wants more than just providing for family. Same thing with Walter, right? Walter is continually talking about money and how they don't have enough. And Mama just doesn't understand, or she's kind of annoyed with the fact that they're always talking about money. Because to Mama, she's doing enough for her family, right? She's getting by. She's getting everybody through. And for Walter and Beneatha, they have bigger dreams, bigger aspirations. And Mama, is just more satisfied with getting by. And so that's one big generational difference. She also, there's a big difference between Beneatha and Mama on the topic of religion and God. Beneatha doesn't seem to believe in God, and Beneatha is frustrated that God takes all the credit for their good things that they do. And we see that Mama is not okay with that, because she actually slaps Beneatha in the face, and she makes her repeat, "In my house, there is still God," right? And then one more, just with Beneatha as well. Beneatha wants more than just financial security. We've talked about that already. But that includes in her relationships as well. She is kind of like, so-so about George Murchison. And Mama's like, why? He's super rich, right? What more could you ask for? And Beneatha that doesn't do it for her. Beneatha is not impressed necessarily by his financial success. She is more looking for someone who is going to fulfill her intellectual needs and her spiritual needs, whatever that looks like to Beneatha, who doesn't believe in God. But she needs more than that. And so Mama doesn't quite understand that. So that's the end of scene 1.